Good morning, students. Today we are going to be sketching in our journal. So if you don't have your journal handy, you want to pause this, you'll grab it and some markers because we're going to be doing a diagram in our journal today. We're going to be looking at a cross section of a leaf. So if we had a leaf like this one, and then we kind of cut it across the middle and looked at the inside, right? That's what we're going to be doing today. Because there's some very specialized layers in the leaf that help the leaf do what it's supposed to do. So let's start out with the very outer edge of the leaf. We're going to use red for this one because it does not go through photosynthesis. This layer is to protect the leaf and help direct water towards the roots. So this layer is called the waxy layer or waxy cuticle. And the waxy cuticle, like I said, it is just to protect it. It's what gives leaves that shiny surface that makes water just kind of roll off of it, right? The next layer that actually produces the waxy cuticle is a layer of cells called the epidermis. And just like our epidermis, it is to protect the plant, right? This is the epidermis. Its job is to make that waxy layer so that the plant stays protected, both from losing too much water, from bacteria, from all of the things that could invade the plant, right? The job of the epidermis is to make the waxy cuticle and protect the plant, right? Okay. The next layer is really what we've been focusing on the last couple of weeks as we've been talking about photosynthesis. The next layer is called the palisade layer, and it's a layer of a little bit bigger plant cells. And these plant cells are really similar to the ones that we've been talking about because these cells are the cells where photosynthesis happens. Okay, so let's label this one the palisade layer. It sounds so fancy. And the main job of this layer, because they've got their big nucleus, what else do all these plant cells have? They've got a big vacuole taking up a lot of space in there, right? They've got all the parts that we've been talking about over the past few weeks. And scattered all around them are all our little chloroplasts, which are allowing these cells to go through photosynthesis. So this layer, because it is packed with all kinds of chloroplasts, using chlorophyll to capture that light energy from the sun, this layer is important to the leaf because it is where most photosynthesis occurs. Okay, most photosynthesis happens in the palisade layer. Okay. All right, so we've got the waxy cuticle that's protecting it, the epidermis that is producing that waxy layer. We've got our layer of really powerful chloroplast packed plant cells that are going through photosynthesis and producing energy. What next? Well, there's kind of this layer, and we call it the spongy layer because they're kind of spaced out with all of this area between them. And so this spongy layer, it does still have some of our green chloroplasts, so it does still go through some photosynthesis. But the main job of this layer is to trap some of the gases that are coming in. So the job of our spongy layer is to trap gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide. oxygen, carbon dioxide. What's our other gas that we're going to lose through leaves? We're also going to lose water, right? And so plants lose some water, which is definitely going to impact their ability to stay healthy, right? That's what pulls that water from the roots, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. So let's look over here. I kind of left this space because throughout each leaf is what we call a vascular bundle, right? And this vascular bundle is really in charge of holding these passageways. Just like we have blood vessels in our body that transport different things, we have a vascular bundle here. And it's kind of wrapping up all of these xylem and phloem. And xylem and phloem are different passageways that carry different things. So when we look, we have kind of these circles, right? Like a cross-section of a tube that carries water to your house. And our blue ones are going to represent our xylem. Xylem transports water throughout the plant. So it's taking water to all of these cells that are going through photosynthesis, right? And so it has a very important job. Now, what's produced as a product of photosynthesis, right? It needs water to go through photosynthesis, and then it's going to produce sugar. And those pink tubes are called phloem. And they transport glucose or sugar to the other parts of the plant, right? So that it can make fruit or store it in roots or use it to grow the plant, right? Get it to the other cells that are in the plant. So this is from the top down, but guess what? We have some repetition of some of these layers. So below the spongy layer, we've got another layer of epidermis cells. And so guess what? They're going to also make a waxy cuticle on the bottom, right? Now, how is that carbon dioxide going to get into the plant? Well, the plant has these cool little openings called, do you guys remember what they're called? These are called, the opening is called stomata, but on either side are guard cells. And guard cells are responsible for opening and closing the stomata. And the stomata is the actual opening, right? So the actual space that opens and closes, that's the stomata. If we have a singular one, it's also called a stoma, right? If it's just one. Stomata is multiples. And plants usually have multiples of stoma, right? Lots of them, because they need to get lots of carbon dioxide in so that they can go through photosynthesis in their palisade layer. So this is kind of the structure of the plant that allows it to go through this process, right? It's got some specialized parts that help it carry out the jobs. Okay, I'm going to zoom out in case you need to pause the video so that you can get this in your journal. So I hope this helps you guys understand how the plant gets all of the pieces and parts that it needs. This waxy cuticle, it doesn't allow water to come in because then it would just flood the plant, right? It makes the water kind of bead up on the surface and fall down so that it can go to the roots, because the roots are where this xylem is bringing water from, right? It's transporting water all the way from the roots. And this glucose sometimes gets transported all the way down to the roots to make things like potatoes and onions and things that are very starchy, right? So plants are pretty specialized to go through photosynthesis through these special layers, and I hope that helps you understand a little bit about how this actually works in a plant on a little bit bigger than a cellular level. Hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you soon.